Look what finally arrived. We got some Banks goodies. So most of you guys know, oh my goodness, this thing is heavy. Most of you guys know I did a video on this. I basically said I was gonna go ahead and order the diff cover for my truck because it's pretty much time for the service, and this just makes the job a lot easier. For whatever reason, they did not put a drain on that rear diff. So this will make life easier and better cooling. And obviously, what's the biggest killer to your fluid? Heat. Now, one thing I like about Banks is they do let you know what the bottom of the box is. I never point that out, but yeah. It says flip me over carefully. So this is the part you're supposed to start at basically. And just be very careful when you're using a knife or you don't damage your stuff. Sometimes this might be overkill. So let's go ahead and open it up. And look at this. They do such a great job making sure this package doesn't come undone. And there's that. And check out what it says. Wow, look at this guy. They give you everything you need, all the hardware. And before you start obviously installing these things, human error is just something that we have to deal with. And obviously if you go ahead and start taking down your old diff cover and you find out that you're missing some parts, that would just suck. Now, first thing I'll say is this thing is heavy. You guys know this is die cast. I'll go ahead and set it up for you guys so you can see it better. So, right here, this is the Banks cover. And yes, Banks is always gonna get an A+ for their shipping. Whoever helps them with shipping and got them started with just doing it like so professionally, man, they should get a raise because it's really good. So right there it says Banks. And I went with the blackout for this. And I don't mind this right here. This looks pretty nice. So you guys know this thing pretty much has a drain port on here. It's right at the bottom, right there. You also have at the very top a place where you can fill. And the reason why these covers are so popular and why really a lot of their pans are so popular is because of their cooling. So you guys see these fins here. You have these internal fins, external fins, and they also created like I call it a vortex right here. You guys see air can actually swoop up and cool the back of this cover here. So this is truly one of the best covers you can get. Serviceability is improved over the manufacturer because for whatever reason, they thought it wasn't a big deal to give us a drain plug, right? Which is crazy. I mean, I love that this thing has a drain plug. You can pretty much see the benefit of that die cast, right? How smooth it is inside of here. You also can see how this kind of has a curve to it too. So this is basically a lubricant raceway. So this is gonna help with the flow of the fluid, and it's gonna help with obviously lubricating all the components internally. They also have what's called directional fluid guides too. So Banks has pretty much thought about everything. I don't know if you guys have ever seen where they will do like the clear cover to show you how this fluid actually flows inside of the diff. I like that because they're taking the time to see the best way to protect that. I mean, obviously your axle is what? I mean, an axle can cost $3,000, I believe, you know, not including installation, things like that. So the biggest killer to the fluid internally is obviously heat. They've thought about every single way they can cool this thing for you. So I like that about this cover. And again, you now have a port down here where you can drain it, because on these 24s, they didn't think to do that. Although I think the earlier trucks might have had a drain. So here's what we're gonna do next. I'm gonna unbox this. And in this video, we're not going to be installing this today. However, we're prepping it for install because I am doing the fluid change for that diff cover here. And right in this closet, I also have my transfer case and front axle to do. So I figured I might as well just go ahead and show you guys how to basically do the fluid change for those in the same video, and then that way you'll pretty much have a how-to video on how to do this. And I'm gonna be doing it by myself, so if I can do it, anybody can do it. Now you obviously don't want to go ham on this box because it is fluid, and I did open this from the bottom. You guys see that? I didn't pay attention. It literally told me bottom, and I still opened it from the bottom. But you guys will see they give you the necessary amount of fluid that you'll need. I did the 75W90, 100% synthetic gear lube. It shows you pretty much all the axles this is for. And they gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 of these guys here, which is nice. So I think I have just enough so that way if I make a mess or whatever, I should be able to get this job done regardless. So yeah, the good news is I have everything I need. So let's go ahead and start prepping this cover. And like I said, stay tuned in the future when I do the full install for this. And then obviously we will do a video for the transfer case and then the front axle. Now, first things first, we have to install these, okay? You guys see they do already have gaskets on there, so you don't necessarily have to go ham on installing these. So just take your time, you know, not too much tightening on these, but you want them nice and snug, that way you don't have any leaks in the future. So let's see. The first one here is this guy. I'll let you guys know the sizes here in a second. I'm just gonna go ahead and start hand tightening. Obviously, you guys know you're not tightening this with power. You wanna take your time, make sure everything is lined up. That way you don't strip this out, because stripping out any of this stuff is not covered under Bank's warranty, okay? So that's nice and snug. So later we'll go and give it a nice 1 round turn. This bigger one here is gonna go up here. Now I'm not gonna obviously tighten this one down because we have to add the fluid from this port here at the very top. Okay. And the last one here, we definitely want to make sure this one is tight. That one's going to go at the very bottom right here. It also does have a magnet at the top of it too. I'm not sure if you guys noticed that. So let's go ahead and find out the size for these bolts here, and then we'll go ahead and install this. Almost forgot about this thing. This is a hex head, and it goes right here. So like if you want to add a sensor to this diff cover, you do have a place for that. And it looks to already have some thread lock already on there. So let's go ahead and get this installed. You know, maybe in the future, I'm not going to make any promises. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe we'll try out something with this, just because it would be kind of cool to get a temperature read on this. Now, obviously, I have used in the past my my temperature gun reader, whatever you call it, and that seems to be pretty accurate. I mean, I've seen temperatures well above 190 degrees, so these things can get pretty hot. That's why you want to protect this thing. Now, for the drain port, this will be a 12mm. Up next is the fill port. This is a 15mm socket. And then obviously you guys can see the little guy here. This is going to be a 5mm hex head. And then you're going to need a 24 deep socket for the sight glass. So it's a little deep in there. Now this is a P-clamp that comes with the kit. You also have 14 stainless steel bolts with some Loctite blue. Let's go ahead and start. Now I did ask Banks, but I'm going to add just a little bit of oiling to these here. Now if they tell me not to do that, I won't do it right now, but once I hear back from them, I may just add just a little bit of grease to these Viton gaskets here. Just heard back from Banks, no grease. They said use a little bit of oil around these O-rings. That's all you need, just a dab of it. And then just, like I said, secure tighten. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get this O-ring installed. So as I said, we're gonna pretty much start here in the middle of the bottom, okay? So one thing I've learned is you want to kind of push this thing the opposite direction, and you want to make sure that it's seated properly inside of here, because if it's not secure at the bottom, I'm assuming oil could get underneath there and come out. So you want to make sure it's secure at the bottom, and as you're installing it, just push on it like this. Obviously it's going to be a little tough around the curves, but on these straightaways you want to make sure you're pushing it the opposite direction as you're putting it in here. And then you want to just make sure everything's good to go. Now let's go this way here. It's actually not too hard. I didn't use any grease, by the way, although I have a little bit of oil on my hands from the O-rings, but yeah, it's going in really easy. And this is so far going pretty good. I'm just gonna go back through, just check, make sure everything's good to go. Now let's go back on this side. And I would say too, don't speed this process up too. Take your time, go slow. This is the part that could be irritating if you mess up. So no need to race it. Just do it nice and steady. I feel like I should pretty much end off here. Okay. Again on this side. I'm sure you guys have saw too, they say online, do not cut this O-ring. If you cut this O-ring, you're screwed. You have to buy another one or get another one from banks, which you'll probably have to pay for. So here we go. We're pretty much down to the wire. Can I get this bad boy in here? Let's see. We're pretty much there. And I have just a little left. Look at that. I have a little left, but that's okay. All we're gonna do is just start over a little bit and start pushing it again towards itself until it gets in there, okay? So I'm gonna start probably from this side here. Okay, so let's go ahead and again, just the goal here is obviously to end with less. That way you can slightly stretch out just a little bit, not too much, but you can undo it and slightly stretching it out. That way you can get it perfectly in these grooves, okay? So I'm almost there, so I'm gonna start back on this side here. Like I said, just take your time. Again, this is the part right here where you mess this up, it screws up the entire install. All right, so you guys see, all I have left is that much. That's it. So I went from about 2 times the size of this down to this. We're all done, guys. I figured out what we were doing wrong. When you're starting from the bottom, going around these curves, think of it like this. Go as fat as you can around these curves. I didn't know I was doing this until about the 3rd time. When you're going around the curves, you tend to go a little bit quicker and you might be pulling on the O-ring, stretching it out. I'm willing to bet you if you take your time, get as fat as you can with the O-ring around these curves, you're gonna easily get it fat on the straightaways because it's kind of easy to go a little bit slower here and really get it nice and seated, right? But when you get around the curves, you tend to go a little bit quicker. You kind of pull it and then boom, it stretches out. If I were to do this all over again, I'm willing to bet you had to get it on the first try because I now figured out where I was making the mistake at. But this is super easy to do, but if you can't do it, have your wife do it for you. If she loves puzzles, I promise you she'll get it on the first try. Just promise her a steak dinner and then boom, you're done. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you would like to purchase this product or any other product with Banks, I do have a promo code down below. It will save you some money on such great products. And be on the lookout for the install video and obviously the maintenance for the front axle and the transfer case. But I'm gonna go ahead and find some food to eat because my stomach's been growling. You've probably been hearing it in the camera. So see you guys soon.